Recording. Hello again, it's me Chaz back with another video. This is my CAF World Cup qualifying match day 5 for Group G, H and I. So the CAF, this is the African Regions World Cup qualifiers. Just like my previous videos about the CAF, I'm now going to focus on Group G, H and I. These matches took place in March of this year. So again, another late video. But let's start with Group G. Since we're the first group that I mentioned, Group G has a total of 6 teams in, just like all the other groups. Algeria, Mozambique, Botswana, Uganda, Guinea and Somalia are the 6 nations in this group. That said, only one of these nations has ever qualified for the World Cup in the past. They qualified for a few World Cups. The most recent World Cup they qualified for was in 2014. That is Algeria. Algeria made it out of the group stage in the 2014 World Cup. That's the first time they ever did that, and put up a great performance against Germany in the round of 16, losing to Germany after extra time 2-1. Germany did go on to winning that World Cup, but now Algeria has another chance to get back to the World Cup. Again, they missed out in the last 2 World Cups, so here's their chance now, and they are currently leading this group. Alright, so let's discuss the matches. We're going to start off with Algeria. Algeria played Botswana away. They were able to defeat Botswana 3-1. This match took place on the 21st of March. First goal was scored in the 44th minute by Goreri. Buldari with a good chip there into Gorari with a good header. With that said, keeper saved it. Well, tried to save it. I say poor by the keeper there. And that's 1-0 for Algeria in the first half. In the second half, Algeria scores again. First goal in the second half came from Amora. Good pass from Gorari there to Amora, doubling Algeria's lead. Botswana do pull a goal back in the 70th minute. Copeland scored for Botswana there. Took some time for this goal to be cleared, but Botswana did pull a goal back. 4 minutes later, in the 74th minute, Omoro scores his second goal in this game. Delaney with the ball there, just run football there. 3-1, Algeria beat Botswana. Both teams do win their next games though. Botswana beat Somalia and Algeria defeated Mozambique. Big game there for them there, Algeria. I'll discuss those games later when I do talk about match day 6. But for this, Algeria looks like they're going to qualify, get back into the World Cup after missing out the past 2 tournaments. For Botswana, mixed results for them in March, but they can still qualify for the World Cup. But they can't afford to lose any more points. Okay, the next game I'm going to discuss was the match that took place between Mozambique and Uganda, which took place in Cairo, Egypt, in the Cairo International Stadium. Mozambique defeated Uganda by 3-1. Pepo for Mozambique scored from the corner. You know, the corner was given because of a poor defending basically, which led to the corner in the first place, and then Pepo scored from that very corner. Poor goalkeeping in my opinion there, but 1-0 to Mozambique. Now again, that was just in the 3rd minute. 4 minutes later, Uganda do equalise, a goal from Mohamed Saban. This goal came from a free kick that was given to Uganda. Okello with the free kick there, and Shaban gets his head to it. 1-0. Okay, 16th minute now. Pepo scores his second goal for Mozambique. Again, keeper should have done better there, basically saving it and then putting it into Pepo's path there. Now that's 2-1 for Mozambique. So 3 goals in less than 20 minutes there. Late on in the first half still, in the 38th minute, Dennis Omedi would be sent off. That's 2 yellows. Yeah, definitely is a deserved yellow card there, sent off. So now 1 goal down and a man down, harder for Uganda. And 3 minutes into injury time in the very first half, Stanley Ratifo get onto pass from Peppo here. Good technique. Ratifo collects the ball and shoots, scores, and that's now 3-1 to Mozambique against Uganda in the first half. And that was now Ratifo's 3rd goal in the World Cup qualifiers for Mozambique. And it looked like all the action happened in the very first half. Not much to report in the second half. Mozambique wins. Good start for them in March, but Mozambique do go up against Algeria on match day 6 and lose heavy. If they won that game, I believe, no, if they did win that, they would have actually topped this table. So unfortunate for them there. Still only just 3 points behind Algeria at the end of March after match day 6. Again, I'll talk about those games later in another video. For Uganda, they do end up beating Guinea on match day 6, so mixed results for both nations in March. Uganda, I should say, they are 3 points off of Mozambique at the end of match day 6, which is the 2nd place spot, which again is a possibility to enter the Interconfederation playoffs, which will be another chance for nations to qualify for the World Cup from different regions, playing each other. Okay, I mentioned these two nations a few times, Guinea and Somalia. This match ended up in a 0-0 draw. The match took place in Ivory Coast in the Stade Olympique Alassane Ouattara, which was the stadium for the 2023 African Cup of Nations final. Both nations did need a win here, so not the best result for either team. That said, for Somalia, it is the very first points for them in this group. Both nations do end up losing their next game, and there's probably the reason why you can see both of them two being at the bottom of this group. Somalia cannot qualify for the World Cup now after match day 6. Guinea still have a chance to qualify for the World Cup, but they have to win all their next games. Okay, that was Group G. We are now going to move on to the next group, and that is Group H. So, Group H, the nations in Group H are Tunisia, Namibia, Liberia, Equatorial Guinea, Malawi, Sao Tome and Principe. In this group, there's been only one nation that has ever qualified for a World Cup, and that is Tunisia. They qualified for the last 2 World Cups, but has never gotten out of the group stage. That said, the last World Cup, they actually beat France, who did end up as the runners-up in that tournament. A quick note, in this group, Equatorial Guinea was deducted a total of 6 points for fielding a ineligible player. So their 2 wins was taken away from them. And you know what? I'm going to start off with the game between Equatorial Guinea and Sao Tome and Principe, which ended up in a 2-0 win for Equatorial Guinea. Emilio Nonsu would score in the 14th minute to give Equatorial Guinea the lead. He is the player that I mentioned that was fielded, and there was a dispute there. But now he is able to play for Equatorial Guinea. He was actually born in Spain, but his mother's Spanish and his father's from Equatorial Guinea. And now he represents Equatorial Guinea. This is officially his first goal in this tournament, but he had 2 goals cancelled. One was actually Equatorial Guinea's first goal of this tournament against Namibia, which was the winner as well, but again, that match was cancelled and Namibia was awarded a 3-0 win. He also scored the winner against Liberia, but again, That match also was rewarded as a 3-0 win to Liberia. Unlucky for Equatorial Guinea there, but you know, it's the rules, I guess. Ivan Salvador would double Equatorial Guinea's lead, scored in the 70th minute, so that's 3 minutes after Ensu gave Equatorial Guinea the lead. He's also was born in Spain as well, so thought I'd mention that. In Africa, in Equatorial Guinea, he's known as Ivan Edu. So yeah, some interesting stuff there. Equatorial Guinea do go on to win this game. That's a 2-0 win for them against Sao Tome and Principe. Equatorial Guinea would pick up a point in their next game after being a goal down against Namibia. Samoan Principe can't qualify automatically, and they haven't got a point yet. The way they can have a chance of qualifying is winning their next 4 games and hoping all the other teams around them drops points. More or less an impossible task there. Even then, that's only for a interconfederation position. For Equatorial Guinea, if they wasn't deducted points, they would have been second in this group, a point ahead of Namibia at the end of match day 6 and only 3 points behind Tunisia. Still a tough task for them if they are going to qualify for their first ever World Cup. Let's move on to the group leaders. That is Tunisia. They took on Liberia on the 19th of March this year, where they won just 1-0. The first and only goal scored in this game was scored in only the 4th minute. Mastori scored, thanks to a pass from Abdi. Again, that was the only goal scored in this game. Tunisia 1-0 over Liberia, putting them in a great position to qualify for a 3rd World Cup in a row, which would be a record they would equal, which they did, interesting enough, almost 20 years ago, where they qualified for the 98, 2002 and 2006 World Cups. And Liberia themselves do go on to win the next game, and only 6 points off Tunisia at the end of match day 6, 2 points behind Namibia. But it does look like it's between those 3 teams who's going to get the top 3 spots in this group. I mentioned them earlier. Namibia played against Malawi on the 20th, and they also defeated Malawi by 1-0. Prince Teresa in the 40th minute gave Namibia the lead. Oh, that's a quality strike actually. Alright, so that's 1-0, which puts them in second. They drew against Equatorial Guinea, in their next game, which were points dropped, especially since they were leading. A win there and they would have only been 2 points behind Tunisia at this stage. Now they're 4 points behind and 2 points clear of Liberia, who are 3rd. For Malawi, they are currently 5th in the table after match day 6. They still have a chance to qualify, but they themselves can't afford to drop any more points. Even draws aren't enough for them now. Alright, that was Group H. Now I'm going to move on to the final group, and that is Group I. Okay, so the final group, Group I. Group I has Ghana in, Comoros, Central African Republic, Chad, Madagascar, and Mali. The only nation in this group to ever qualify for a World Cup before is Ghana. Ghana was a penalty kick away of being the first nation in Africa to reach the semi-finals. Unfortunately, they didn't get that opportunity. They were beaten by Uruguay in the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Cup, which was hosted by South Africa. The first time the World Cup was in Africa. Ghana did qualify for the 2022 World Cup, and their last game, funny enough, was against Uruguay, where they lost 2-0 and was knocked out of that tournament. And we're going to discuss the game that took place in Ghana between Ghana and Chad, which ended in a 5-0 win for Ghana. Big win there for them. This match took place on the 21st of March. The very first goal scorer for Ghana was Anton Semenyo, who scored in the 2nd minute. Inaki Williams would double Ghana's lead in the 31st minute. Then they were awarded a penalty 5 minutes later. Jordan Awari converted that penalty. That's now 3-0 for Ghana in the first half. In the second half, Ghana will score 2 more goals. First, in the 56th minute, goal from Mohamed Salusi would make it 4-0 for Ghana. And then finally, in the 68th minute, Ernest Nemama would make it 5-0 for Ghana. Ghana would go on to win their next game against Madagascar and put themselves in a great position. They are now just 3 points ahead of Comoros. The only team that has beaten Ghana in this group, or got points from Ghana in this group, is Comoros, who are second. For Chad, they lost their next game against Comoros, and now Chad can't qualify for this World Cup and still yet to get a point, but I guess that doesn't matter now. Alright, next game we have Comoros against Mali. Mali shockingly defeated Comoros by 3-0. This game took place in Morocco in the Bakane Stadium. First goal came in the 20th minute from Douglas Nene. Can't finish there, 1-0. Second half, 2 goals were scored, both from Kimberly Dumbia. First goal he scored was in the 55th minute, doubling Mali's lead. And then the next goal came in the 63rd minute, making it 3-0 from Mali over Comoros. Surprising win there for them. That's a good pass from Bashoma, who did assist for the first goal as well for Nini's goal. Big win for Mali here. They do end up drawing against Central African Republic. Really needed to win there. See, if they did win that game, they would have only been a point behind Comoros, who are currently in second. Again, Comoros, after losing this game, they do bounce back though. They beat Chad by a 0-0, and now they're just 3 points behind Ghana. With that said though, in March they did drop a place down because of this loss to Mali. With only 4 games left to play in this group, well, qualifying in this group will definitely go to the wire. Okay, and finally the last match in this video that I'm going to talk about, and that is the game between Central African Republic and Madagascar, which ended in a 4-1 win for Madagascar. This group had the most goals scored at the end of match day 5. So lots of goals, plenty of goals. So Central African Republic surprisingly did take the lead in this game though. Hugo Gamboa scored in the 9th minute. However, 2 goals from Ryan Revolution, first in the 17th minute to get the equaliser for Madagascar, and then take the lead 4 minutes later in the 21st minute. So changed it round there. Then 4 minutes into the second half, a goal from Randidiyam Tenena gives Madagascar a 3-1 lead. And finally in the 89th minute, Rafano Menasoa scored in the 89th minute, just mentioned, making it 4-1 now for Madagascar. They win this game. Big win there. With that said, Madagascar do go on to lose against Ghana 3-0. If Madagascar did beat Ghana, they would have topped this group at the end of match day 6. For the Central African Republic. They draw their next game against Mali, with Chad already being eliminated. Central African Republic are 5th. And if they're going to have a chance of qualifying for this World Cup, they must win all the next games and hope results around them goes in their favour. Okay, this was my CAF World Cup qualifying match day 5 video for Group G, H and I. Thanks for watching, listening, appreciate it as usual. Finally finished match day 5. Going to move on to match day 6, and this will be the last few March videos that I should have uploaded months ago. Sorry about that. But thanks for watching as usual, though I still appreciate it. And bye.